I need music. It's like my heartbeat, so to speak. It keeps me going, no matter what's going on. LeBron James said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Podcast. This is episode number 100 and Kareem, aka episode number 133. 33 was the number won by one of the greatest of all time, the inventor of the skyhook, one of the most dominant scorers in NBA history, one of the greatest to ever come out of New York City, perhaps the greatest. UCLA and Laker legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly Lou Alcindor. Did you know that 33 is arguably the most decorated jersey number in NBA history?
Yes. Who else? Bird was Bird 33?
Bird was 33.
I'm trying to think other sports.
Kareem. Well, in the NBA.
In the NBA. Okay.
In the NBA. Yeah, 17 titles. 9 MVPs, 4 Finals MVPs, 73 All-Star selections, decorated. I think 32. The number 32 comes I'd say a close second, but it's not really that close.
Close second to 23?
To 33.
Is 23 not higher?
No. And they say that 23 would have been closer.
Oh, LeBron changes
if
number.
LeBron didn't change his number
right.
when he went to Miami.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you want to be successful in the NBA, claim the number 33 if it's not already retired or being worn by the best player on the team. Anyway, my name is Ike Amaechi, and today I'm joined by Mitch Orsatti. Around here, we live by a principle governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA. And we talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high, and low. This week on High and Low, we're getting back into soundtrack mode.
Yeah, I'm so excited. All 6 of my nipples are tingling.
So back on episode 120, we curated a soundtrack for the league, and we dove into the crates for some tracks that best represented the season. This was before the season even started, so we were in more of a hopeful state of mind. This time around, we're providing you with a soundtrack based on songs for specific teams. Music that best describes the season that certain teams are having. And I'll be honest, these are my favorite episodes to research and prep for. As a music enthusiast, a connoisseur of sorts, I live for this stuff. And I know, Mitch, I know you get in your bag when it comes to this stuff.
I second that. I wholly second that. This was so much fun to get ready for.
So much fun, man. Can't wait for this segment. But hey, stay tuned for that. Before we lock in, let's quickly just check in. Last week, we had a bit of a spiritual experience as a group. Hey, man, I witnessed Sean, Steven, and Hugo come to terms with their own biases and share some truth about the deficiencies in their favorite teams. Mitch, man, you weren't here. This would have been great for you to be a part of.
I wasn't there, but I heard my name in a lot of mouths, and I think that means I was kind of there. I was on mind. I was in there in spirit, and I'm gonna touch on some of that later.
Yes. I want to give you that opportunity because honestly, it's an experience like none other. But hey, Mitch, I appreciate your time this week. Thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining us for yet another installment of the program. Another week, another episode, more NBA, some more High and Low. This week in NBA history, it was 50-50. On December 6th, 2000, the Lakers of Los Angeles were hosted by the Golden State Warriors in the arena in Oakland. That's what the arena was called, the arena in Oakland. The Lakers were in the middle of the dynasty that we all have come to know and love. Some of us have come to know and love. Coming off a dominant 67-win season that culminated in one of 3 straight titles, they walked into this 2000-2001 season with the same mindset, that same winning attitude, and they were 14-6. 14-6. I can't talk tonight. They were 14-6 going into this matchup against the 6-13 Warriors club that would only end up winning 17 games that season. Pathetic.
Man. Hold on. 17 games? They won 11 games of their next 60 plus? Yikes.
Pretty much. Like, terrible. Led by Antoine Jameson. Well, in this particular game, the Warriors took it to the defending champs, pushing the game to overtime, powered by a 51-point game by Antoine Jameson. The only reason this game was even close. Shaq put up 25 for the Lake show, but it was Kobe's 51 that stopped this from being embarrassing. I mean, you can't lose to a team that's only going to win 17 games, and you're the defending champs? Anyway, despite Kobe's heroics, the Warriors won in overtime, 125-122. Goodness. And it was the first time in 38 years that players on opposing teams scored 50 or more points in the same game, this reminds me of Game 4 in the Utah-Denver series back in the 2020 playoffs. Yeah, that was quite the performance by Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray, both catching fire there, and both had a 50 piece. and Mitch, remember the blasphemy? People declaring Murray the best player on Denver at that point? Ridiculous.
How could I forget?
Ridiculous.
Lunacy.
People were just losing their minds. I don't know. Maybe it was a COVID on the brain. I don't know.
What did you say?
Anyway, that's a little something for the NBA history nerds. Things are certainly happening in the NBA today, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
We have a listener question from Cam. Shout out to the homie Cam in Henderson, Nevada, man, one of the OG listeners.
OG, yeah, holding us down.
But we got a question from Cam. It goes like this: something strange is going on between the Stars and Minnesota. What is happening with the Timberwolves, and why should we care?
Yeah, why should we care is a good question. Minnesota has not really led us to care much in the last, 20-ish years. But is it strange? I don't know. I was very on board with this trade at the onset of it, despite Sean questioning anybody being on board with it last week. Because if Cat, and this is the if, right? If Cat responded positively in his play on the court, it should work. It should work. Instead, he sulks and he blames, and then Ant gets blamed, and then he sulks and he stands in the corner and he doesn't do anything. And Gobert does one to two things extremely well. And he's doing those things still, but the other guys are not pulling their weight and they're not integrating properly. And some of that's on the coaching staff and some of it's on the players, but like, this should work. It still might. Now Cat's out 4 to 6 weeks, whatever that might be. Maybe this gives Ant and Gobert an opportunity to find some chemistry. I don't know. It's early days. They sunk a lot into this, crazy idea that this might work, and I think it could. So I'm not throwing hands up yet. Let's see.
I mean, we should care because Anthony Edwards is involved, and I think Anthony Edwards is a treasure that we should all cherish and take care of. And let's just pay attention to this and hope that Anthony Edwards comes out on top.
I'm not super high on Ant yet. I need to see more from him on the other side of the ball, and like fundamentals, kind of like I need to see more of a basketball player, not just like a hooper. You know what I mean?
He's very athletic.
Super athletic, extremely talented. Not there yet.
I don't think we've had a chance to really see him.
No, and he's young. Time yet.
I just feel like when you have Karl Anthony Towns soaking up so many possessions, it can be limiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's further to my point. That's why it should be on Cat for this to work. He's supposed to be the franchise player. He's the one who needs to make this work for Ant and Gobert.
Yeah. Hey, more on this a little bit later because Minnesota will be coming up again. They will be coming up again. But hey, Cam, I hope that answered your question. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the question. A quick reminder to High and Low Lives, if you want to leave a question, just like Cam did, just drop a DM on TikTok at More High and Low. And we're also on Instagram at Get High and Low. I'll put those links in the show notes as per usual. It's time to hold this segment by the back of its head, help it bob for apples in an old broken toilet in a public washroom.
Oh, God.
When we come back, we're giving you the songs of the season. We'll be right back with More High and Low.
Ooh.
This moment is brought to you by High and Low listeners. This week, we ask you to share your top 5 players on your way to early MVP ladder. Wheeler in New Haven, Connecticut, shared his list, starting with the legend, Mr. Wardell Stephen Curry at number 5, the Slovenian assassin, Luka Doncic at number 4, Giannis, the Nigerian nightmare, at 3. Well, you can call him the Greek Freak if you want. The one they call the Joker, Nikola Jokic, well, he landed at number 2. And number 1 on the ladder is Jason Tatum. Sorry, Jason Tatum. I don't have a nickname for you. But we can go with JT. JT works. Again, this is way too early in the season, but let's see where everyone lands in April. I think, yeah, that'll give us a better picture. Anyway, Wheeler in Connecticut, I appreciate the list, appreciate you. Now let's get back to the show. And we are back. I'm Ike Amaechi, and I'm here with Mitch Orsatti.
Hey, before we go too much further, I just want to say, every time you throw it to and we're putting this segment in or on or around, I close my eyes. I close my eyes and I really try to go there. I really try to see what's up. And you rarely, if ever, let me down. That just incredible picture painting is what it is.
Bobbing for apples in an old broken toy.
I hate it.
It has to be old and broken.
I hate the image. The image that I end up seeing is always horrible, but I enjoy the journey.
You know what? The journey is for you, man. You're the one that appreciates it most. So
bless you. Bless your heart.
But hey, man, we are here for the music. Well, we're here for music and basketball. Music and basketball, man. They're like peanut butter and jelly, rice and peas, thunder and lightning, Michael Jackson in the moonwalk. You know, walk into any NBA arena and you'll hear music. Ask any player what they're doing before a game, and they'll tell you that they're listening to music. And when music and basketball come together in the most perfect way, like the first few volumes of the N1 mixtape back in the day, it's a moment best described with like a chef's kiss.
Kiss my piss.
It's only natural that we bring music to this show about basketball. You know, we celebrate the cultures of music and basketball every episode with our music selection, courtesy of our guy Live.
And shout out to Live.
And that other guy, Sonny Rockwell. I don't know. We don't know where to find him.
I'd shout him out, but who knows?
But this is especially dedicated to music, much like what we did several episodes back. You know, we're curating a soundtrack for you, a special selection of songs by team, songs that describe the seasons that these teams are currently having. I'll leave a link to the playlist on Spotify in the show notes, and I'll share it on our socials so you can listen to the tracks in full. If you don't have Spotify, my bad. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. You know what? I'll play some snippets. I'll play some snippets of the songs throughout the show, so at least you'll get a sense of what we're talking about. Anyway, like I said before, these are my favorite types of episodes, so I'm excited to get started, Mitch.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, man. What's your first team and song for the soundtrack?
Okay, well, before I get into my first team, I just have to say sorry. There's a lot of lyrics from this song that I can't repeat without bleeps on this very wholesome podcast, so apologies to the listeners and the editor of this episode. Right. My first team is the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm going to talk about the Atlanta Hawks in the lens of Zach Fox's FAFO. And FAFO, the acronym of FAFO, by the way, Zach Fox is from Atlanta, stands for f*** around and find out. And I'll tell you right now, there's no team that embodies this mantra more than the Atlanta Hawks. Only, I think they're the ones finding out more than not. So they are, right? Like, they've done so much f***ing around. Sorry. Most recently with DeJounte's head tap that was immediately followed by 3 straight losses, including the game where he did the head tap. It's just like they can't help themselves. They want the other team to find out, but it's always them finding out. So I'm gonna start with this. It's just this one moment of this song that I think really embodies the attitude of the Atlanta Hawks. And here's what it is. It's I can't never stop. Bitch, I can't quit. I've been out the pocket since a motherfucking jit. Raised my hand up in the class and told the teacher, suck my dick.
Bitch, we with the shit. I've been out the pocket since a motherfucking jit. Raised my hand up in the class and told the teacher, suck my dick.
I'm sorry. I know it's profane. I know you got a lot of bleeping to do, but like, come on. If that's not the Atlanta Hawks to a T, then I don't know what is.
Oh yeah. DeJounte, he's been wanting that. He's been on that FAFO since June.
Man, it's just like unlocked.
Oh yeah. Something happened. Like when he knew that the doors in San Antonio were swinging open for him to smell freedom, he just said, "Oh, okay, I can be myself. I'm about to find out. I'm about to find out every night."
And that's like, is that an indicator? And I think we talked about this in Discord. Is like, is that an indicator of DeJounte being like censored and, you know, caged, for lack of a better word, by the San Antonio culture? Or was it him just like getting to Atlanta and being like, oh, this is a bit different. Maybe this is who I am. I don't know.
Yeah. Did Trey unlock him?
Maybe. Trey certainly loves being the villain. He's another one who finds out.
Let's find out together.
Oh,
Let's find out together, DeJounte.
Like
Come
Bonnie and
here.
Clyde.
The image of him tapping, I forget the player who DeJounte tapped on the head after he hit the three.
Me too. It was a rookie.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like poor guy.
I know.
Poor guy. You know? But then it's the image later of DeJounte putting his arm around Trey. Like minutes later, there was another play. And they're just finding out. They found out. They found out, like you said. But hey, great choice, man. Great choice. Yeah. Zach Fox.
Shout out to Zach Fox. I love that guy.
All right, you guys, what's next?
So we touched on Minnesota a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need to dive any deeper than we have, aside from the fact that this team provided me with one of the strangest and funniest moments of the season when Karl Anthony Towns took the time to publicly comment on Anthony Edwards' admiration for Popeye's chicken, as if he was genuinely concerned for the well-being and physique of his teammate. The Wolves haven't been the same since. It feels like it. It feels like everything was just kind of like it's spiraled since then. But to commemorate this moment, I've selected a track titled "I See Now" by Consequence, featuring Little Brother and Kanye West.
Ooh, there's layers to that.
Featured on is on Consequence's 2004 album titled "Take 'Em to the Cleaners," which is what Danny Ainge did to this team when he offloaded Rudy Gobert for half the population of Minneapolis. In the song, Kanye, not Ye, but Kanye. Remember Kanye West back in the day?
I miss the old Kanye.
Exactly. He does the refrain, the hook, which I feel describes Cat's feelings towards Anthony Edwards. And he says this in the hook. "Oh, I see now. You was hurting you on the rebound. Ben and Jerry's and Mickey D's now. And you just gonna gain all that weight on me now. Nah, fall back. If you ain't a player, then what the hell you call that? A ninja disrespect me. I'ma be in all black. But baby, if you let me, I'ma take it all back." So I feel like that describes the relationship.
Hold on, sorry. Can I ask a quick clarifying question? You said ninja.
That's not what he said.
That's not what he said. I know it's not what he said. I usually go with homie. I just want to put. I obviously never say it, but I'm curious. Is ninja what you go? Is that your go-to?
Ninja's my go-to.
All right, I appreciate it.
Ninja's my go-to because when I play a song and it just happens to drop, I'll and I know it's coming up, especially if my kids are listening. I'll just say Ninja with the song so that they hear me say Ninja and not the actual words. So
okay. All right.
You're next.
I'm next.
Songs of the season.
Songs of the season. I'm going to go with Philadelphia, the 76ers for this one. And I'm going to go a little out of the hip-hop box. I'm going to go with Blood Orange, Always Let You Down, from my favorite album of theirs, Cupid Deluxe. And I'm going to get right into it. Here's the opening to the song and kind of how I feel about Philly. I can only disappoint you because I always let you down. I can only disappoint you always. Now, we're in years and years of the process, bad team and relationship management, and one generational talent that has led to sustained playoff success and nothing else. Now, I feel like it's important to color here that there are a couple of camps of NBA fans, casuals, blah, 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 blah. There's two I want to talk about. One is the camp of if you don't win the chip, then the season was a loss and meaningless and why bother? And there's another camp that believes sustained playoff success should be celebrated. Philly fans, I feel like, fall into the former. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
So that opening line, right? That opening line is probably a familiar refrain to them. And then they went out to get Harden, and another line emerges from the song. Now, I'll just ask that listeners roll with me a little poetic license here. Change Dublin to Brooklyn. I traveled from Dublin. You said you'd change the world. You sing like Sinatra, always. Now, Harden was meant to be the answer to this problem, right? He was supposed to be the Sinatra, singing for Embiid and meshing everything together. This year, just played 9 games, albeit fairly effective games. But again, not good enough. 76ers seem to just always be not good enough. And back to the song, prime for the ending, much as the same as the start. It's repeated, just like Philadelphia's seasons. I can only disappoint you because I always let you down. I can only disappoint you because I always let you down. Always.
It's heartbreaking, man.
Hey, not for me. Sorry, not sorry, Philly.
Sorry, not sorry. Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm not a Philly fan, so I love watching Embiid play.
Why? How could you possibly enjoy watching that guy play? It's an abysmal thing to watch. Him and Harden at the same time. Ugh.
No, not him and Harden, but just in the past, Embiid he's been a joy to watch at times. I couldn't aside from the crying for the fouls and the embellishment and all that stuff.
Oh, aside from 80% of his game, you mean? I'm not letting this one go. No, I find Joel excruciating to watch. Oh,
all right. Well, hey, great track.
Thank you. What do you got?
I'm gonna move on to the Lakers of Los Angeles.
That's pretty good.
This is a storied franchise. They're the gold standard. A place where W is the only letter in the alphabet. Championship trophies are the only currency accepted. There've been some dark times, some droughts, but that usually dissipates and disappears when you have 2 stars in purple and gold. Usually that's the case, and it was supposed to be the case when LeBron and AD joined forces in LA. In fact, the Lakers got their chip, but it's been all downhill from there.
Bubble chip too.
Yeah, bubble chip. And in year 2 of the Russell Westbrook era, the Lakers have languished. Russ aside, LeBron is still capable of being one of the best players in the league, and so is Anthony Davis on his healthy nights.
He's been good. He's been good when healthy. Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why.
That's the thing with him. Yeah.
Yeah, you just never know what you're going to get with AD, and I think he just raises too many question marks. And this is why I've selected "Do Better" by Ab-Soul. Okay, "Do Better" by Ab-Soul, just to represent the Lakers on this soundtrack. The message is in the title. Okay.
Yep.
and also the chorus, but Ab-Soul aptly adds a little more to it when he says,
"I gotta do better. I gotta do better. Gotta do better today. Gotta do better before it's too late." Shade stuck to my face, hoodie glued to my head.
That hits.
LeBron is
it's getting
38
late.
years old.
It's getting late.
Getting late, man. It's getting late. They're shutting off the lights soon. The music is being turned off. They're turning the lights on. DJ's ready to wrap up this song. Okay, and they're about to tell people, hey, you don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. It's a message from all that represent Laker history to the current roster of stars. There's no sympathy for anything less than. Just one message. Do better or you're doing nothing in Lakerland. That's mine.
Honestly, if we're not going to break, that's a perfect segue to my next one. Can I go?
Let's go.
Okay. Because I spoke about the second camp when I was talking about Philly, and you talked about the Lakers, they're a first camp team. They're if we don't win a chip, nothing else matters, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am going to talk about the Toronto Raptors. Shocker. Sorry, Steven. I'm going to talk about the Toronto Raptors. Sorry, not sorry. Thomas. Sorry, not sorry. I'm going to talk about Toronto Raptors, and my song is Thundercats, Them Changes.
Oh.
So I reside in the second camp of NBA fans. I don't think you have to win a chip for a season to be successful. There's sustained playoff runs. That's exciting. Individual improvements from your younger players, tweaks to the roster to support the journey. Like, only one team wins the championship. If you watch the NBA and you expect your team to win the championship NBA every year, you're going to be sad like 98% of the time. So yeah. I choose to enjoy the journey. Now, with the Raptors, this has been the case because they've modeled kind of their, culture and fundamentals around San Antonio Spurs. Like, let's build, let's keep consistency. And while San Antonio won their fair share of chips and the Raptors only won one, I think that they are a team to be enjoyed. And the way we enjoy them, and I'm rounding back to the song here, is they are gritty, defense-oriented, hustle plays, and then they run the ball down the opposition's throat. So here's Thundercat, and I think you'll see.
Nobody moves, there's blood on the floor, and I can't find my heart. Where did it go? Did I leave it in the cold? So please give it back, 'cause it's not yours to take.
How perfect of a line is that for opponents who run into Toronto when the defense is locked in? Donovan Mitchell, against the Raptors, had his 121 straight games of double-figure scoring snapped. He scored 8 points on 3 of 12 shooting and was locked in the OG Anunoby torture chamber. Now, a little sidebar here. Y'all last week talked about, saying the things you love about the teams you hate and the things you hate about the team you love. I think that Thundercat line applies to the Raptors on the other side too, because the thing that I hate about the Raptors is they don't have their heart some nights. And they can very much be the team who falls flat and gets locked up. We just saw it. They just faced off against the CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram-less New Orleans Pelicans and got 30-pieced. And that's, inexcusable, really. So
yeah, they
checked out. Their heart was on the floor. They couldn't find it. And they give and they take. So whether it's the Raps or their opponent, lines like that about heart and this one about heart aptly apply. It must have fell when I lost my mind, deep in the cut, drowning in its pain. Somebody help, because I can't find my way. Nobody move. Nobody move. I feel like either way, on every game, the Raptors are going to do that to an opponent, or they're going to be that from the opponent.
I like it. It actually kind of applies to the next team that I want to talk about.
Okay. Oh man, I love this.
Unlike other years, I think in other seasons it hasn't really applied, but this season in particular.
Can I guess who the team is?
Go ahead.
Is it Golden State?
Yes, it is.
I thought so.
Ding, ding, ding. The defending champs. These boys are on cruise control. Yep. I just don't know who I'm going to get on any given night. They play to their opponent for some reason.
I hate that so much.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, and they have a top 3 offense, which is where they should be, but their defense is amongst the worst in the league, which explains the record thus far. And Curry's been playing like a top 3 player, carrying the team on many nights. Andrew Wiggins has been their second best player, but you can't You can't be the defending champs with Andrew Wiggins as your second best player. No disrespect to Andrew Wiggins, but Klay has to be the second best player on your team. Draymond has been okay.
Wiggins. It can be Wiggins here and there, but it can't be
here
every
and
night.
there.
Yeah, it can't be every night. I agree.
Every night it's been Wiggins second best, and Draymond Green, he's been okay, but he's showing his decline.
A lot of miles
at this point.
A lot of miles on those guys.
Indeed, and Klay is just a shell. Anyway, you know what? Don't even get me started on Jordan Poole, who just took the money and ran. And speaking of running, the song that I feel best represents the Golden State Warriors in 2022 going into 2023 is Claymore by Isaiah Rashad on his album. His album is titled The House is Burning. This album is a modern classic.
He hasn't released a bad album, period.
Not even one.
No.
Okay. And Isaiah Rashad, so underrated, underrated. But there are a couple of bars in Claymore's refrain that capture what I feel would be Steph's message to his teammates this year. And maybe the Warriors fans' message to their team. And the line is this. Is you running or exercising, baby. Keep it 1-1. Okay? Keep it 100. Okay? Watching the Warriors play this season has been an exercise in futility. We know what they're capable of, and we often see glimpses, but they can't finish. We're watching impotence, so to speak. Are the Dubs ready to run, or are they going to keep jogging like it's practice? And make sure to listen to Isaiah Rashad's The House is Burning if you haven't already.
Yes.
Again, this guy doesn't fail you. And that's exactly where I felt that we were with the Golden State Warriors. But man, we just don't know what we're going to get. Hey, another track from that album, Headshots. Banger. But that is Steph Curry's own soundtrack. That's for his. That's his song.
And why? Because Steph Curry is having maybe his best season ever. And
goodness.
he won a unanimous MVP. He's having a better season than then.
I can't even say that he's going for the jugular because it's a headshot. Every single night, this guy's going in for the kill. And he's just not getting the backup that he deserves at this point. And again, I'm including short snippets of the tracks as we go, but I'll drop the link to the playlist.
It's gonna be a good playlist.
Oh, yeah. So far, so good, man.
I got one that's going to throw it all over the place, but still mostly good.
Well, I can't wait for that one. Okay, let's take a quick break before we get to that. And yeah, we'll come back with our final four. We'll be right back with more High and Low. And we are back. So we are 6 tracks deep with 4 more to go. Can't wait to get into this because Mitch, you teed this one up. Well, maybe it's not your next one, but I just want to get right back into this. So Mitch, who's next for you?
Okay. Sorry again, Steven. I'm going to talk about Denver, the Denver Nuggets. You better believe Jokic is going to come up. I'm going to choose the incredible artist Flying Lotus. This track is called Never Catch Me. It's featuring Kendrick Lamar. And before I get into that, I need to do a little revisit of last week. You know, we chatted, you and I, Ike, we chatted about my top 10, which you very generously read out on the podcast. And maybe generously might be the wrong word. But I digress.
Listen, I'm here. they were trying to stop me at every word. You go stepping in like, whoa.
He's not even here, bro. He was barely here. That guy was there and barely there. You know what I mean? Anyways, this week I'm here to admit a wrong. Okay, I'm here to admit a wrong. I had in my top 10 a player, that was ranked too low. I had Nikola Jokic at 4. And you know what? Too low. 4th best record in the league. Murray and MPJ rounding into form. Aaron Gordon making good on his offseason promise to get smarter because you just have to be when you're playing with Jokic. And you know what? Jokic doesn't even look like he's trying yet. And he's still in the top 5 players in the league. So Here's an excerpt from the song. This part is rapped by Kendrick Lamar, which I feel applies to Jokic so well. He says, I can see the darkness in me and it's quite amazing. Life and death is no mystery and I want to taste it. Step inside of my mind and you'll find curiosity, animosity, high velocity, like a prophesized meditation. I can see the darkness in me and it's quite amazing. Life and death is no mystery and I want to taste it. Step inside of my mind and you'll find curiosity, animosity, high philosophy, hype, prophesized meditation. I got mind control when I'm here. You're gonna hate me when I'm gone. Ain't no blood pumping, no fear. I got hope inside of my bones. So, I feel like this relates strongly to Jokic because do you know the meme? It's like a 4-panel meme of the galaxy brain. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I see Jokic as that final brain. You know the one? His mind bursting, yet open and receptive, filled with so much. And I feel like that's the type of player he is. And to that Kendrick Lamar line, his legacy, I'm sure of it, is going to be dragged through the mud by pundits at the end of his career and beyond. Oh, those MVPs, he shouldn't have won it. It should have been this player, should have been that player. People are going to hate him when he's gone, and I would bet good money that it bothers him zero. And the hope for Jokic in sticking with the Nuggets through thick and thin, because there's no fear in his game. And I feel like that lack of fear and that belief and hope translates to the rest of that roster. So, because I wasn't around last week, I'm going to throw out a freebie for everybody to rag on me for. Okay, you ready? I think Jokic finishes at worst second in MVP voting this year. At worst.
Wow.
And if the Nuggets end up winning something like 70-ish games, which is possible, and Boston somehow has some kind of negative shooting regression because they're shooting lights out and they're out of their minds right now and they start losing some games, I think there's a sliver of a possibility that Nikola Jokic wins it for a third year in a row. Sliver. Just a tiny window. I think the window is slightly open. The field is crazier than ever. I'll just say that. It's 5 guys are playing out of their damn minds right now. Wow. But there's one final line to that song. Say you will never, ever catch me. And that's how I feel about Jokic. You can't catch up with Jokic. He's too good.
We were very close to having Steven join us tonight.
Oh, I wish he was here. Like I wish.
This would have been an early Christmas gift for Steven.
Oh, for me too. Oh. I love going back and forth with Steven.
Oh, hey, you're not going to get any arguments from me because, of course, Denver Nuggets led by superstar MPJ.
Led by.
and of course, Nikola Jokic, of course. Man. I got to keep the shtick going. Love it though, man. Oh, so you have him, but you had him fourth.
I had him fourth, and I don't anymore. I don't.
And just for clarification, you said 70.
Hey, right? Man. Yeah, 70-ish. I think it's possible.
70-ish?
Yeah, like 68 to 70, I think is doable for them.
And, some folks have Jason Tatum.
Well, that's it. I think that's the guy. If Boston keeps this up and Tatum keeps averaging like 38 and 5 or whatever he is, how can you not? How can you not give him the MVP? You can't.
Yeah.
If they end up winning 70 games, it's over. It's a lock for Tatum.
It's over. Yeah.
As it should be. That should be rewarded.
We'll see where this goes. Speaking of MVPs, back-to-back MVPs, let's just go to Milwaukee for a moment.
Yeah, I threw a little bit of indirect shade at Giannis there. A little bit.
Yeah, a bit. And I'm let me speak to that for a moment here. So let me just go back to Philly for a moment. When Montrezl Harrell, okay, and his Philly assistant coach tried to interrupt Giannis while he was practicing his free throws after a game, a Bucks Sixers game in Philly a few weeks back. My antenna went up. Giannis is the best basketball player on the planet.
Correct.
Full stop.
Correct. 100% agree.
Yeah. So when Jordan or LeBron were considered the best in the world, no one would have dared do something like that. No one in the league would have ever even had the thought to do something like that. And then the media tried to jump on Giannis for pushing the ladder.
For the ladder,
they
yeah.
placed in front of the net, all this stuff. And I was thinking, this is more of an issue of respect than anything else. See, Giannis is not a homegrown red, white, and blue-blooded star that can be packaged and sold to the American consumer. He's a global star who represents the league's expansion, but there's a reluctance to crown a Nigerian kid from Greece. But they better learn. They better learn how to do that, because that crown will most likely be passed on to a 7'4" Congolese kid from France. Anyway, the Bucks stop with Giannis, so to speak. He is Milwaukee, and a slight to Giannis represents a slight to the Bucks, which is why I selected this song, Nike Shoebox by Lou Phelps and Kate Renata. That's my song from
deep
Milwaukee.
cut.
Lou Phelps, I was listening to it the other day, and Lou Phelps has dropped this line, and the whole Giannis incident started to play in my head as I was listening to it, and I was like, oh my goodness. And this is before we're even going to do this episode.
Love that.
He says this.
Yo, and that's facts. Remember when I wanted help from these rap cats? Used to look up to you niggas, but it's all cap. Jealousy is a bitch because you see that I'm the captain. Watch the throne. I'm on this pedestal. I see the seat is all mine. I haven't claimed it though.
Wow. That's pretty perfect.
It spoke to me.
It's like it was written for him.
Exactly. Like, it describes the situation perfectly. It's his. Giannis is on the throne, but there's so many people that don't want him to be there, or at least it feels like it. And for something like that to happen openly, like, there were people still walking out of the arena at that point. And here you have Montrezl Harrell, who's like a bench player. Like, he's the 8th guy on the team, 9th at best. At best, man. He's washed. He is the one that's going to come up to the best player in the league and basically take the ball away from this man as he's trying to improve his game. And I'm like, okay, all right. But don't worry, it's his throne. It's his throne.
That's bulletin board material for Giannis.
Oh, I can't wait for that next Philly-Milwaukee game. Hey, shout out to Kate Renata, one of the best producers who operates in so many different realms. Anyway, that's my guy.
That's your guy. Well, I'm going to go way off the board here. So I'm choosing the Dallas Mavericks for my final team to talk about. And we've dabbled in the hip-hop, R&B adjacent realm here. And for this one, I'm going way, way, way back. I'm going to Neil Young, On the Beach.
Wow.
Which is one of my absolute favorite songs of all time. If you're not familiar, just a powerhouse of a song, and the whole album is terrific. But I feel like it speaks to the roster and, more importantly, to Luka so perfectly. So I'm gonna spice in some stuff, some lines, in and out. Okay. Starts with, "The world is turning, and I hope it don't turn away." So at the time of this recording, Dallas is middling, barely hanging on in the, as usual, very competitive Western Conference. The Western Conference could very well be turning away from the Dallas Mavericks if they don't right the ship. Okay? Neil continues, "I need a crowd of people, but I can't face them day to day. Though my problems are meaningless, that don't make them go away. Luka very much needs a crowd of people, a ton more help on that hapless roster. But he's also, and here's the rub, he's also beginning to carve himself into the James Harden model, if he isn't there already, of extremely high usage gunner that NBA players don't really line up to play with. Every big free agent signing was a shooter for Harden or a guy they traded for, and that player didn't have, the agency to make that decision themselves. Luka needs better balance on his roster to effectively change that part of his game, I think. But he can't change his game until the crowd is right. Neil continues here. "I went to the radio interview, but I ended up alone at the microphone." Again, Luka averaging almost 10 assists per game. But when you're a point guard with a 37% usage rate, which is the 3rd highest in the league, is that really an eye-popping number? I don't think so. Luka's alone out there. He's alone at the microphone every game. And it leads me to this final line in the song. It leads me to wonder, do you think Luka follows the Dirk Nowitzki model and stays on the Mavs his whole career? I don't know. Here's the final line from On the Beach. Get out of town. I think I'll get out of town because the world is turning and I don't want to see it turn away. I feel like that song is so perfect for Dallas and Luka.
Oh, man. Neil Young.
Shout out to Neil Young. Love that guy.
Oh, yeah. Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah. Still alive. Still sticking it to the man. He said, Spotify, you're going to have these politics? Get me out of here. He took all his stuff down. Oh. So you're not going to be able to find that on the Spotify playlist.
Can't find it on the Spotify playlist. Okay. If the track doesn't play, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Let me go to my last.
Bring it home.
Team here. Last but not least is Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns. Simply put, the Suns are defying all odds. You know, at some point during the offseason, Father Time licked his palm and slapped Chris Paul upside his fade because he is showing his age. My goodness. He's having a terrible season from the field, worst in his career. He's been teetering on defensive liability status. His defensive win share numbers are the lowest that they've been in his career. Before the season began, Monty Williams told Jay Crowder that he would have to lose his starting spot to Cam Johnson in the final year of his contract, a year when most guys audition for the next contract.
Especially at that age.
So I'm like, I don't know, Monty. I don't know. Anyway, Crowder gave Monty and the Suns the finger. Never showed up. He's been in Atlanta ever since. Still is. Meanwhile, Devin Booker is hooping like the star that he is.
Top 10
guy, carrying his team to the top of the West. And this is all happening while having the fate of their owner looming over the team like a dark cloud. Robert Sarver. This man should be gone and forgotten, but yet he still sticks around. The sale of the team is still in question, which is why I chose All in My Head by Sir as my song. Going on the R&B path real quick.
Love Sir.
Sir, incredible artist, incredible singer, incredible lyricist. I imagine Robert Sarver singing these words to Devin Booker, CP3, and the rest of the Suns.
Robert Sarver singing a black man's words? Oh, you got to twist it.
Here, let me just say it though. Let me just say it.
All right.
This is what Sir's words in Robert Sarver's mouth. I should be leaving. I should be walking out the door. I don't really need it, but you keep me wanting more. Thought it'd be easy. Letting go is what I do. So why are my feet nailed to the floor? Why am I holding onto you? Why the hell are you here, man?
Damn.
Get the hell up out of here. Sell your team and call it a day. Why are we still here with Robert Sarver? I have not forgotten. Ime Udoka did not let me forget about what you did, Robert Sarver. Mm-hmm. Why are you still here? Anyway.
And man, I think we all talked about at the beginning of the season, we all thought Phoenix was going to be bad. They are not bad at all, despite all of the things you said. It's
defying all odds. I'm telling you, like, they are incredible, but I was going to pick another song called Dreams by Felix, but I felt, that's cold. That's cold-blooded.
That's too perfect. You can't pass that up.
Yeah. This is it, though. But hey, man, that's our soundtrack for you. 10 tracks. Very apt. Oh, my goodness. So much fun to put this one together. We're going to have to do this again real soon.
Yes.
Why the fuck I can't shoot three-point shot?
Hey, that brings us to the end of this episode of High and Low. Thank you, Mitch. This has been fun.
My pleasure, as always.
Definitely going to put that soundtrack out for people to listen to. Subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts and make us a part of your weekly routine. You know where to find us. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Links to those are all in the show notes. So where can listeners find you, Mitch?
Oh, you can find me. So I think the last time I was here, I said you can find me on the Bluebird app if it's still around. It's still around. You can find me on Twitter at Thirsty Villain, and you can find me over at Raptors HQ. I'll be writing about the upcoming Brooklyn Nets game with the Raptors. So yeah, you can find me over there.
Amazing. Yes, look for Mitch on the Raptors HQ. And hey, once again, music is by Live of the Enjoy Music Group. You can find Live on Twitter and on Instagram at LYVE. Additional music is by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. Can't find that guy anywhere. Sound design is by Vonn+Abrahamm. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of Mitch Orsatti, I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low. And we'll see you next week.
Get out of town, Sarver. Get out of